back to the channel, everyone, and we are here today to talk about Rudy Gobert and how he is not on the Utah Jazz anymore. I'm not here to pause and do a 2-minute take on First Take, basically saying, what's going on in Utah? Why would they trade Royce O'Neal for a first-round pick? Why would they do these things? Because I'm not really here to talk about Utah. And I understand this video is going to be a lot shorter. It's probably going to be one of my shortest videos I've ever done. The next couple of days, you'll be seeing very, very short videos that are on pretty much old news now. And there's not much that I can really say on this trade that really hasn't been said, more or less on how or why I am not a huge fan of this trade for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because when you look at the grand scheme of things, I understand why they did what they did. They're a small market team who do not bring in free agents very quickly or easily. They don't have the luxury of LA. They don't have the luxury of New York. They don't have the luxury of Houston, Chicago. This is Minnesota we're talking about, and that's no disrespect to Minnesota, but their franchise has been in turmoil for better half of the past couple decades. I know that English was very broken, but let's move on. Anywho, because I'm trying to do this in one take. But with Utah giving away Rudy Gobert, I understand why they did it, and it's rare that they have an opportunity to make a move like this, and it's interesting because Karl-Anthony Towns at the forward position is something that a lot of us have been wanting. My problem with it being, unless they were very low on Walker Kessler, who I understand he's a late round, first round pick, you don't really want to put all your chips into a guy, even though he was a defensive player of the year for the SEC, when the SEC was probably the most dominant it's been in a long time. Not to mention the guy has averaged 5 blocks. I would have loved if they had waited a little bit, but I understand you have to strike while the iron's hot. Who knows? Maybe Rudy Gobert gets moved before we even got to see Walker Kessler play. And he's not the key catalyst because obviously you gave up, I think, what was it, 5 first-round picks total? Unless you're including Walker, it might be 6 or it might be 5. And you're getting the big contract of the $200 million. Rudy obviously is a fantastic defensive player, and Walker Kessler cannot stand on the same level defensively as Rudy Gobert. But we do not know if Karl-Anthony Towns at the 4 works for sure. We know that Anthony Davis works at the 4, and sometimes he doesn't want to work at the 5, even though logistically it makes sense on paper. And I get why they did it. I keep saying that. But I don't love it because does this really move the needle? This moves them from at least a play-in team to a playoff team. And it all depends on Anthony Edwards. I think that's kind of the consensus around here. It's not really on Cat. It's not really on Rudy. I mean, Rudy is a really good third best player on a championship team. But is this Minnesota team contender? Because when we look at it, down the line, this could go really south for Minnesota. This could go really, really bad. Because Karl-Anthony Towns is not a young player anymore. And Anthony Edwards is clearly the guy that you want to be your number 1 on a championship team. Does Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert accept that? I don't know. Not to mention their wing position and their depth is pretty weak right now. And I don't know if you're going to be able to bring in any more free agents to really build that. Plus, are we sure D'Angelo Russell is the perfect point guard for a championship level team? Does he really fit in well with this team overall? And are they going to be able to get more touches to Rudy Gobert, even though he'd been complaining about them in Utah, which is fair because Donovan Mitchell would never pass him the ball. All of these questions are valid, and it's why I feel when you have to ask this many questions with a trade of this caliber, with this many assets being moved, is it truly worth it for Minnesota? And I ask you a question. Do you believe that this is a good move? How many wins does this add? Are they a top 4 seed in the West? I don't think so. I don't think that they're better than a lot of the teams. I mean, a healthy Suns team, barring if they get rid of DeAndre Ayton, could beat them in a playoff series. I could see the Clippers dominating them in a playoff series. I could see easily the Warriors running Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns off the floor. And I understand if Anthony Edwards takes a Ja Morant leap, this team is a contender. But we're also having to consider, can you play them two at the same time? Now, what I believe and what not a lot of people have mentioned when we're talking about the Timberwolves is, are you going to be able to stagger potentially Rudy and Cat? And that's something I kind of like. But the problem being with that, when we're looking at a salary cap or a salary sheet more or less, do you really want to pay $200 million to stagger with a guy? I just feel that Timberwolves unless they just could not get another free agent to come in or potentially another trade option while keeping their future alive. Because this is what reminds me of what they did with Jimmy Butler. They went all in and it burned them. And it burned them before, and I'm concerned it'll burn them again. Let me know what you think about this Rudy Gobert trade, and these are my quick analysis thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I am trying to get 1,000 subs on this channel by the end of this summer, and if you are a first-time viewer, leave a like, leave a sub. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the content, and have a wonderful day.